What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 19 of the Rise to Glory here with Gibraltar Apex. And today I have for you guys the first episode of Season 4 here. It's the UEFA Champions League first qualifying phase, first and second leg. We've been drawn against Havnar Boltfalag. We'll call them Havnar. They're a team from the Faroe Islands. They're a semi-professional team. We're actually favourites for this game, so I'm hoping we can get a decent result here. And yeah, this is going to start our seasonal campaign, of course, in Europe. TV money always going to be on the cards. It'd be nice to get to the second round of qualifying. The draw for the second round has already been decided, which, if we just take a quick look at, if we win our game, we'll actually play against this team, Utrecht, I guess they're called. They're a Hungarian team. They actually have some fairly good players, or they did. They've now lost them. They had one good, fairly kind of terrifying player. They've got a good team. I mean, it's not an incredible team, and it's full of virtual players, and we might have a chance against them. But yeah, we've got to, I guess, overcome the first hurdle first, and that is going to be against Havnar, this kind of Faroese. Is it Faroese? We'll go with it. Faroese team. Anyway, in terms of the transfers, there is just one or two bits and pieces to tell you guys about. The first thing we'll talk about is the transfers that have happened. The first of which are some fairly big ones, to be honest. We paid some, I want to say fairly big money. £16,000 is pennies, really. But we did bring in Michael Gregory from Red Imps, just a really talented centre midfielder. 18 years old, some good current ability. I needed a new centre mid. I think he'll be a long-term option in that position. And yeah, the 18-year-old looks like a very nice little playmaker. The next player we have, Shane Ramage, again, another centre mid, another signing who we made from Glassis. You'll see that we actually signed two players from Glassis over the summer. The reason for me signing their players was, number one, they were in positions that I wanted, and number two, they were our big title rivals last year, and so weakening them in any way we can is kind of, I guess, approved, and it's something I want to do. So Ramage was one of those players. Peter Morgan, the other player, a nice little right back. Last year we kind of lacked a backup to Reyes in the right back position. There were a few times when we were a little bit short of a right back, so we've now got an option there in Peter Morgan. Unfortunately, not registered for this competition. Would have been nice to have him because you can see here fitness levels are a bit of a problem, but nevertheless we've done a fairly good job of managing our squad. On the outs, just a few to tell you guys about. Jogan Santos released. He was our third choice left back, wanted to be involved in Europe. I dropped him. He complained about lack of first team football. I just let him go on a free. The 33-year-old wasn't really offering a lot to the side. I don't even think he made that many appearances for us. Yeah, you can see here, he joined us when we were in the Segunda division, and in 3 seasons he made 7 appearances, so not going to be a miss for us. And the other player who left us was Adam Holmes, who's just gone out on loan. We have got a few other players going out on loan. They're just our younger players. Some of them might break into the first team eventually, but for now they just need first team football. You guys may have seen there was a player in the transfer centre who's joining us soon, and this is actually a signing that I'm pretty excited about, and I didn't really expect, but I was looking for a few other Gibraltar Let's Plays on YouTube, on forums. You know, it's not an uncommon save, and a few people said that they'd spotted Gibraltarian players playing it in America. So when I first set up my save, if I show you guys the leagues I've got active, I actually loaded up the USA. Obviously, if you watch the Hexagon Challenge so far, you'll know that I used Americans a fair bit in New Zealand, and I think that's something that we will try to do here in Gibraltar. But what really got me excited was this guy, Aaron Holmes, and the reason I found him was actually because he got called up to the Gibraltarian first team, the Gibraltar national team, didn't actually come on and make an appearance in the squad, but this 16-year-old playing for Rapids Academy in the MLS kind of caught my eye. So we brought him in. He's not actually joining us for another 2 years, unfortunately. That is because he's 16 and he has to be 18 before he moves. But he looks like a pretty decent little centre-back. Would immediately kind of slip into our first team if he could join us immediately. Unfortunately, we have got to wait 2 years. He joins us on what I believe is a 2-year deal. You can actually see at the moment he's out with strained knee ligaments, which is a little bit of a shame, and has meant that he hasn't been recalled to the national side to try and get that first cap yet. But nevertheless, the 16-year-old looks like he could be a good little player, and one certainly to kind of, I guess, look forward to in a few years' time. Anyway, that is kind of the transfers so far. In terms of the finances, they look fairly good. We've actually had a little bit of a drop-off of our overall balance. It was at £400,000 at the end of the season. Obviously, you saw that we did, of course, make one signing for 16k, and that was Gregory coming in. The other 40k that's gone was taxed from us at the end of the tax year, at the end of the football season. I think it was 10% of our profits, which was £400,000. And now I'm starting to sound like an accountant, so let's move on. But basically, we're still very good in the money. And of course, playing in the Champions League today is going to help our money kind of in terms of the TV revenue we get. So anyway, looking at our team for today's game, I've kind of tried to strike a bit of a balance between fitness, composure, match sharpness, a bit of everything, because we have got a few issues. You guys may remember last season, fitness was a problem. The reason it's such a problem is because these kind of qualifying rounds start so early into our pre-season. The players have been back a little over a week, and so to get them match fit is a really big struggle. I did organise 2 pre-game and 2 pre-season friendlies prior to these kind of qualifying rounds to hopefully help us out. They've had a little bit of an impact, but nothing too major, and as a result, you can see here, our players are still struggling. Anyway, in terms of our team for today's game, in goal we're going to go with Felix, the goalkeeper, looking like a very good player for us. You can see he's improving, which is absolutely amazing to see. I'm a little bit concerned already, though, that there are teams showing interest. I don't want to sell him. If I did sell him, I'd probably want to get 2 or 3 million for him, if I'm honest. And that might sound like a very large sum, but that's the kind of money that could really help push the club professional and help me get in a lot of Felixes and sign them in. I don't really want to let him go in an ideal world, but it would be, I guess, a way and kind of a shortcut, perhaps, towards getting the club to go professional. Anyway, in the defence we go with Glenn Gilbert, Guerrero, Roberts and Ballester. Nothing crazy there. You guys know these players by now. Glenn Gilbert, the left back with free crossing, who seems to get assists for days. Ballester probably wouldn't normally start. We'd usually have Reyes at right back. Unfortunately, Reyes is really struggling fitness-wise. 65% condition, 63% match fitness. Simply put, he wasn't ready for the game. Anyway, in the midfield, we go with Griffo out on the left and Hernandez out on the right. 2 players who, really, they've been staples of the team for a while. And it's kind of the same in the kind of centre mid positions as well, with Sargent and Danny B going to be roaming and kind of hopefully ruling the roosts for us in this game. These 2 guys, you know, I want to see a good performance from Danny B. He scored a goal last episode, which if you missed it, go check it out. It was the end of season live com. And then up front we have Peachman and Connolly, the 2 players who last year really hit it off towards the end of the year. Connolly got 4 goals, of course, last season in the Champions League. It'll be interesting to see if he can do that again. This striker's very, very fast. It allows him to get some really good opportunities, and I'm hoping that if he gets any today, he can really take them his way. So this first game against Havnar is actually away from home, so away goals are kind of significant. I'm hoping we can put in a good performance here. One other thing I'll just tell you guys about real quickly, in the Primera Division, you'll notice that Lincoln Red Imps did get relegated, and this had a little bit of a weird effect. Because Lincoln Red Imps and Red Imps are kind of affiliates, Lincoln Red Imps is kind of the A team, Red Imps is the B team. When Red Imps got relegated, Lincoln Red Imps this is, it came up with a news item saying that Red Imps were going to be relegated from the 2nd Division. You'll notice they've not been relegated. A little bit of a bizarre one. It even has, you can't really tell, I don't think, in the recording, but this dot here is a slightly darker shade of red, indicating that the team was relegated. And I was a little bit confused as to how the game was going to handle it. I was a little bit worried that we were going to be a team short in the Segunda Division, and that was going to cause some issues for the save. However, as you can see here, Red Imps still remain in the Segunda Division, despite apparently being relegated. So Lincoln Red Imps did get relegated. The other team who almost got relegated was Europa Point, who curiously really tailed off. They won, I believe, the playoff game at the end of last season. They actually beat us on the last day of the season, as you can see here, 3-1. And that was to avoid the drop. And then they won against Angels in the relegation playoff to kind of retain their position in the league. So that was really well played by them. And yeah, that's kind of what's been going on in the league. So just the one relegation. In terms of the teams who got European football in the end, I'm not entirely sure. We'll just have a quick flick through and hopefully we can see them from the continental competition. So of course, we are in the Champions League. Other teams, Europa League was for Glasses United. And the other team to get Europa League football was St. Joseph's, I do believe. It was indeed. So we'll keep an eye out on them. I know someone mentioned, I think, during a Season 2 episode, which was uploaded, hey, you should keep an eye on what's going on in Europe and how the national team gets on. I am going to be doing that from this season onwards. You know, we'll keep an eye on it. Certainly when it comes to next episode or whenever the next episode is, after all the qualifying's done, we'll see how they got on. In terms of Gibraltar, they've actually raised up the world rankings a little bit. They're now into 192nd. And in terms of their fixtures, if we have a look here, they lost against Hungary 4-1. But prior to that, they got 2 draws last year against the UAE and Liechtenstein. Perhaps 2 games you might hope they could win. They didn't actually do too badly in a lot of these games, really, Gibraltar. And a few 1-0s there that if they went the other way, would probably see them a little bit higher in the world rankings. But anyway, let's get into today's games. We've got Havnar to play twice. We're going to do both legs, of course, in one live comp. Submit the team. I know fitness is going to be a problem. I'm hoping we won't have injuries. Of course, we have got a few options on the bench who we can bring on to help rotate the side. And Ramage, one of those players to keep an eye out on. Kind of a new addition to the side. I just told the players that a first leg win would do us a world of good. Go out there and get it. They weren't happy about that. They looked confused and stressed. I'd rather confuse some of them who were stressed and motivate others than kind of leave them all angry. So at the moment we have a split dressing room of 6 people confused, 5 absolutely delighted. A bit of a weird team talk. Hopefully that's not going to impact us too much. We are away from home here. I believe I saw a news item coming in saying that we were taking 80 away fans to this game. So that's pretty exciting. We've got a loyal Gibraltar Apex fan base developing. But anyway, we're bringing the ball forward here. Connolly going to go out wide to Ballester. Options on ahead. Fred's in Hernandez. Can he cross it? He can. And Connolly with the goal. Well, I mentioned he got 4 goals in the last Champions League campaign. He gets this Champions League campaign off to an absolute flyer. 4 minutes in, we get a crucial away goal. And well, it started with Connolly and it ended with Connolly. Ballester, nice ball to Hernandez. And then the ball whipped in and Connolly just latches onto it. Perhaps a debate to say he took it off Peachman's foot. It looked like Peachman's ball was there to be hit, but I'm not going to complain. I don't mind a little bit of selfishness, unless when it goes in. Anyway, let's move on from that. Griffo here, options out wide. Glennie Gilbert, free crossing. What can you do? Peachman is there. It's 2-0, and we are having a giraffe. And Peachman's had a haircut this season, and now his hair doesn't fit his head. Tragic. Anyway, that's a great ball in. Glenn Gilbert, I don't know if he still has free crossing. He definitely had that when he joined the club, and I don't know why I remember that stat in particular. I guess it's because he puts in balls like that. And it's 2-0. We are looking very good in this game. Havnar, they've had 1 shot on goal. Can we make it 3 before half-time? Griffo, cleared away by Moore. Sargent will deal with it, though. Back to Glennie Gilbert. Gives away the ball. Danny B, don't foul him. Havnar now bringing the ball forward. Guerrero, though, what a tackle, my son. Now can we break? Connolly, you're fast. Run, Connolly, run. Pass it to Connolly. Where is he? Where's the speed demon? That's not him. That's Glenn Gilbert. There's Connolly. It's 3-0. Half an hour gone. What a performance this has been. Wow. 3 away goals. I wanted us to win this game fairly convincingly in the first kind of leg. But nevertheless, this is a great performance here. Connolly with an open goal to score into, his 2nd of the game. And well, he's getting this season off to a flyer, the young striker. We might even have the ability at half-time to maybe sub off someone like Roberts, who's on 51% condition. I'm just curious what the other team's condition is on. See, theirs is all really good. It's the disadvantage of our weird season dates and how late our season starts. But either way, 3-0 is a very pleasing start to this. Of course, hopefully when the Gibraltarian kind of league coefficients raise up and we perhaps get a chance to qualify in a later stage, obviously when the league ranks go up, we won't enter as early into the qualifying, which means we will have theoretically a slightly longer pre-season to build up fitness. So that's something I'm kind of looking forward to, but I'll tell you what, fitness is not looking like a problem here. Maybe we'll peter off towards the end of this game. I don't want to utter those words aloud, but that is a very real problem that we might see here. I was about to make a tactical change, and they have a chance there. Egilson with the shot. Doesn't go in there. I'm going to make a few changes. Roberts is booked and struggling. We're going to bring on Reyes. Guerrero is also struggling. I really wish I had more centre-back options. Like, I really do. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll move Ballester to centre-back, bring on Reyes there. And then I think I'm going to bring on Clark for Guerrero. Now, Clark can't actually play centre-back, but Gilbert has good stats to play there. And I'm sorry, Gilbert. I know you're going for your 3rd assist of the game, Glenn, but we need you to do a job at centre-back for us today. Not a position he can actually play, but his attributes, as I mentioned a few episodes ago, kind of suit him to play centre-back. So we're going to stick him there, and we might have another chance here. Griffo, Hernandez, what a goal, 4-0. 70 minutes gone on the clock. This is looking like an absolutely fantastic way to go on in the Champions League. I was worried, we were going to struggle in this competition. And to be honest, I don't really expect us to get beyond the 2nd round. If we get to the 2nd round, that's all I really want from these Champions League campaigns. If we can reach the 3rd qualifying round, it does actually mean, I do believe, if we lose it, we go into the Europa League qualifying stages, which means more football, more TV money. I think that's got to be the aim eventually. Maybe not this season, maybe not the next. That might be something we have to look towards either when we go professional or if we get a really, really kind draw kind of, in the second round. Which, to be fair, the draw this year has been a lot nicer than when we had Red Bull Salzburg last year. To get a Hungarian team, we kind of maybe have a chance. I don't want to say that too kind of loudly, but with performances like this, I mean, anything could be possible, really. Connolly getting a double for him there, and looking at the other results, well, you can see there wasn't too much going on in terms of big results. A few big wins, I guess. Is that Bikakara? The Malton team won 3-0, but then 2 1-0s in the other competitions, just so you guys get an idea of the teams we could have been drawn against. I'd argue that Airbus are probably the hardest team that you could get drawn against, but then I look at some of their players, they're really not that great. I'll tell you what I have been doing lately, and what I've been doing lately is I'll click through these players, find a player, and then just see if I can approach to sign him and see if he'll even talk to me. So yeah, you can see, that's just so you guys can see, that is generally what happens when I try and approach players from abroad. They say they don't want to relocate for a full-time deal. The difference, obviously, with the Gibraltarian lad who I signed from Rapid, or Rapid's Academy, is the fact that... because he's Gibraltarian, I don't believe he sees Gibraltar as a foreign nation to move to, despite the fact he's in the USA. I did still have to convince him to come, and I kind of was like, oh, you should come play in the Champions League with us. And he loved the idea of that. Living the dream, coming to Europe to play in the Champions League. We didn't tell him what level that he was going to be playing at. I think it's fair to say. But yeah, we're doing well. Okay, that was a really good result. 4-0. I didn't expect that. That does kind of relax me a little bit going into this next game. Fitness still is going to be a bit of a problem, so I'm probably going to rest a few players. You might notice, actually, in the news items for the next kind of few days, a few players signing new deals. Realistically, I probably should have waited until nearer the end of the season to renew players' contracts who were running out at the end of the year. But at the same time, I want to get them tied down to new deals really as soon as possible for the for the kind of majority of the players that we have in the squad. The advantage of doing this kind of contract negotiation, right before their contracts expired, is a few of our players are asking for kind of, I want to say, considerable pay rises. When I say considerable, we're talking maybe £70 a week. But that does add up over a year, particularly if there's maybe 5, 6, 7 players asking for those raises. But at the same time, we can afford to pay those extra kind of raises, and I'd rather do it than potentially risk losing the players, in January on Bosmans. But anyway, we'll see how we get on here against Havnar. Going to be, hopefully, a fairly kind of, routine performance. That's what we're looking for here. Fans are confident of a big win. Well, we won the first leg 4-0, so I certainly hope we can try and match that in this game. Be interesting to see how our players have kind of recovered for this match against Havnar. I don't really know what I expected from this Faroese team. I guess, realistically, every year we should be looking to get out of this first qualifying phase where you play against clubs from San Marino, Andorra, the Faroe Islands, Wales. Those are games that we probably should be winning. But anyway, we'll see how we get on here. Looks like they're playing a little bit more defensive for this game. Looking at our team player fitness, Roberts is a little bit unfit. I think for this game I'm actually going to play Bonavia, who is a player I've not talked about before. Or actually, no, that's a lie. I have talked about him, but not in much detail. This guy's a 17-year-old regen. He's got some pretty good potential. He is a player who genned at our club during our first season in charge. He's never played for the first team before. This year I've elected to promote him just because I think he's the kind of player who we can rely on, particularly in league games. He's not going to be completely outclassed. And yeah, we'll play him today because he is fit. And I kind of just want to rotate players here. After that first kind of leg performance, I'm certainly a little bit less kind of worried, I guess, and a little bit less concerned about, I guess, our team's actual performances. So I'm going to try and get as many players with above 80 condition on the pitch, I think, as possible. We don't really need to risk any injuries here. It seems a bit silly to do so. So, we'll play a few reserve players like Ballantyne, who, well, last year he kind of really went under the radar. Scott Ballantyne, a player who we did sign in the Segunda division for £200. You can see he's not made many appearances for us of late. We've never really had an injury crisis in the wide midfielder positions, and that's kind of where Scott kind of fits into the team. But anyway, we'll submit this team here. A few kind of unusual names, I guess, on the team sheet, but going in 4-0 up, you'd expect us to win this game. I don't think we're being too complacent. in what we're doing. I'm just going to try and encourage the players as well in this second leg. Of course, if we get 1 goal here, that puts us just through pretty much. I believe Havnar would then have to score 6 because of the away goals rule, just to take it, their way. So a goal here early on lets me relax. It lets me enjoy this game. We'll see how we get on though. We're on the attack here. Connolly, Peachman on ahead. Can he find the ball through? Connolly. Out wide to Ballester. To Drimmy. Cadrion. Can he do something? He finds Connolly. Connolly shoots straight at the keeper. That was a real opportunity for him. He got 4 goals last year in the Champions League. He'll be looking to do a similar tally perhaps this year, Connolly. The youngster, he's got a bit of a taste for this competition, I guess it's fair to say. However, missed a chance there to add his 3rd for the season. And it's going to remain at 0-0 here, although looking at the stats, we are on top. I'm hoping we can do something here, although Havnar are bringing the ball forward. It's going to go outside to Johansson. I guess that's how we'd say his name. Out wide to Nilsson, inside to Muller. Nice interplay here. They've got a few Johanssons, or it might be Jonassons. I don't know. Answers on a postcard. I know I have viewers from everywhere, so if you are from the Faroe Islands, please speak up or forever hold your peace. Peachman scores again. That's really going to annoy me, the fact his hair doesn't fit his head. But that is his 2nd goal of the competition, and that does make it 5-0. That should be game over. And Glenn Gilbert, he's got another assist. He's got another ball, which he's whipped into the box, and it's just a nod on the back post, and it finds its way in. The keeper not getting across his goal. And we are loving it right now. Things just, they've gone our way this episode. I was worried, we could get knocked out in the first round. We wouldn't get as much TV money. We'd perhaps, regress a little bit, considering we got to the second round last year. That was really the aim this year, was to match that. And then depending on the team we got drawn against, really go beyond that. But at the moment, it's going to be 1-0. I'm going to tell the players I'm pleased. I'm also going to tell them, I think, in the second half, just to slow down the game. We don't need to play at a fast tempo. We can just kind of rest. We can, just chill, really. We don't need to try too hard here. And that is exactly what I'm going to tell the players. I feel like there's a rest button and I just can't see it. Is there a button that says, work less? I feel like there is a button here and I just can't see it. Send help. They've scored. I don't know if I should be concerned about that. I probably shouldn't be. They need 6 in the remaining 24 minutes. I can't see it happening. How did this goal go in? Jensen whips in the ball and some questionable marking. Samuelson with the goal. It feels like every one of their players' names end with Sen. Actually, looking at the stats for this leg, they've probably been on top. But our players do look just a little bit tired, I think it's fair to say. But as I mentioned, we'll rotate some players, particularly players who I'm going to be wanting to play next time out. So I guess we'll take off Ballester. I think we'll just play a randomer there. We'll play Stephen Clark, the left back, at right back for this game. I think this game's done. They're not going to score 6, so we'll just rotate our team. Get players fit, make sure they have as long as they need to recover, I guess, for this game. I'm not too worried about winning on the night. It'd be nice to do that for the fans who have come out in force for this home tie, but ultimately we've got to think ahead to the next leg in this competition. I guess kind of do what's best for the club. I'm not usually a fan of resting players. I know Liverpool recently had kind of the dilemma with Exeter in the FA Cup about whether or not they should rest players with all the injuries. And in that kind of situation, I kind of feel like it's understandable. And I kind of feel like this is a similar situation here, although Reyes is going to get injured at centre-back, and that does leave us with a little bit of a dilemma. We're going to play without a right midfielder, I think. So, yeah, we're a man down, but hopefully that injury isn't a major one, because Reyes is a very useful player for us to have at right-back. Fortunately for us, as I mentioned earlier, we have signed a right-back recently as a backup to Reyes. He wasn't registered for this stage in the competition, but I believe between this leg and the kind of second qualifying round, we do have the ability to register and unregister a few players. So that might be something we do, depending on the situation that we have here with Reyes' injury. But anyway, we do win it in the first qualifying round. Reyes is going to be out with a broken collarbone. That is going to be a big miss for us. That was a really pleasing performance, though. And apparently we're now playing FC Copenhagen. I swear it said... I'm so confused. It definitely said we had a Ukrainian team to play before in Ujpest. Unless I can't read, which might be the case. In which case I looked like an idiot earlier. Apparently I can't read. Copenhagen is not an easy team. They've got Moussa Dembele. What? That is a weird player for them to have. This is going to be a slaughter again, isn't it? Oh dear. Well, I hope you guys are looking forward to next episode. We're going to have a bit of a Mission Impossible-esque task, I guess, against us, as we will be taking on FC Copenhagen. Apparently I can't read. That is something I'm going to work on for next time. I know a few people have already said I can't read because I can't pronounce names. I'm going to hold my hands up. I'm sorry. But yeah, FC Copenhagen is the task at hand. Suddenly this looks a little bit harder. Hopefully I'll see you guys for the next episode. As always, if you have enjoyed this video, do smash the like button. If you've got any comments, leave them down below. And yeah, other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching as always. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.